Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a new course which is going to span over several videos in a series. In this course, I am going to bring you from introductory skills of Airflow to an expert Airflow user. The only prerequisite for this course is basic Python programming. I am Dalmas and I'm going to be your instructor for this course. So let's begin. To understand what Airflow is, we need to first know what a workflow is. The dictionary defines a workflow as a sequence of industrial, administrative, or other processes through which a piece of work passes from initiation to completion. In real life, I see a workflow as a combination of activities and their sequencing to accomplish an objective. So let's look at an example of a workflow to gain a better understanding of what it is. Here we have a workflow where the objective is to go to work. There are several activities that someone participates in, starting with waking up. Obviously, you cannot go to work before you wake up. And ending with taking breakfast before going to work. Each activity includes a task to be done, and all tasks are ordered by when they are to be done. In this case, you have to take a shower before you take breakfast. Do you take shower or you have shower? I don't know. But you have to shower before you have your breakfast. And you have to wake before you lay your bed. Also, you have to brush before you shower. So this is how it is organized. And workflows can be routine, things that you do routinely, or it can be a one-time sequence of activities. Now, let's understand workflows in the context of data engineering. From the perspective of data engineering, a workflow is a set of steps taken to accomplish a given data engineering task. A good example is a task to send a report every morning about something like, let's say, sales. In order to send this report, we have to do a lot of data manipulations. And in this example, we have to fetch data from a transactional database, clean that data, store the clean data in a warehouse. How am I pronouncing data? Is it data or data? I've been having confusing lecturers and instructors from all over the world. So take it as you may. Yeah, so I'm saying in this example, we have to fetch data from a transactional database, clean the data, store the data in a data warehouse, do some data aggregation, generate reports, then send the report via emails, maybe to your boss or to an analyst or whoever needs to be notified or given the report. This is a cool example of one of the workflows that we are going to be creating in this course using Airflow. So now that you know what a workflow is, let's get to understand what Airflow is. From the definition, Airflow is an open source workflow management platform. It was created by Airbnb in 2014, and in 2016, it became an Apache incubator project. That's why you see in the name now we prefix it with Apache Airflow, just to say that, Apache owns it, or it is the major contributor is Apache and so forth. So it is an incubator project from Apache. So now that we know that Airflow is a workflow management platform, let's discuss how it helps in workflow management. Airflow helps us with task creation. We can create tasks using Python, and that is the reason why I told you that we need basic programming knowledge using Python. We can also organize these tasks to dictate which tasks run before what. Airflow helps us with the task scheduling, where you can tell Airflow to run tasks at a particular time and also how frequently you'd like that task to run within a time period. And lastly, Airflow helps you monitor tasks. Airflow has a web UI where you can see how your tasks are executing. It helps you to set alarms if, for example, your task fails to run or it misses to run because of some particular random reason, or if the task just takes long to run, you can set an alarm, and an alarm can be sent to any messaging service of your choice. It could be sent to WhatsApp, it could be sent to Teams, it could be sent to Slack, it could be sent to Mattermost. Now, given that we know these features of Airflow, how can you access Airflow? There are several ways you can access Airflow. The first one is through command line. In this example here, we have Airflow DAGs test tutorial and then a date. This is just a CLI command that you can use to access Airflow. And in this case here, we are running a test on a task. I've talked about Web UI. You can access Airflow on UI through the browser, and this is dependent on Airflow that you've already installed on your system. Both of them, command line, all the ways of accessing Airflow, you can access them provided you've installed. You're not going to access some other person's Airflow. So we have command line, we have Web UI. You can access it through RESTful API. Here we have a Swagger documentation, which you can use to access and understand how the endpoints look like. But you can access it through a RESTful API if you want to build a front end on top of Airflow that is tailored for your own organization or your own need. You can also access Airflow through the code, and here is where you tailor Airflow to do things for you, to run tasks for you, schedule them, and executing them or telling them when to execute. So Airflow uses a concept of DAGs. And DAGs are directed acyclic graphs. It's a concept that is borrowed from graph theory. It's a domain of mathematics called graph theory and complex networks. And in graph theory, graphs are a set of nodes and edges where two nodes are related to each other based on the connection between them, and the connection between them is an edge. So in this example, I have a simple graph where nodes are labeled as in alphabet. Here we have A is a node, B is a node, C is a node, D is a node, E is a node. We are going to have a detailed lecture about DAGs in the future videos. But for now, just know that a DAG is a graph where we have nodes and edges. And it is called a directed acyclic graph because, first of all, it is directed. There is direction in the flow of information from node A to node B. You can see there is an arrow. From node A to node D, there is an arrow. And from node A to node C, there is an arrow here. The connection between the two nodes is an edge. So here we have this arrow here is the edge. And then it is acyclic in a way that if you move from node A, you can never come back from node A. Or if you move away from any particular node in the graph, you can never come back to that. So here we can say moving from A, you follow this direction to B. You cannot go back because the arrow is pointing towards B. So from B, you can only move to D. And then from D, you can only move to E. There is no way back to A. Or if you move away from C, there is no way back. So that is acyclic. And then it is directed because it is pointed. So in this case, in the case of Airflow, the node is the task and the edge is the dependency. And the dependency is task A needs to run before task B or task C or task D runs. Task B cannot run unless task A has completed successfully or task A has been skipped. Task D cannot run unless task B, A, and C have completed successfully or they have been skipped. So that is how the DAG looks like. We shall talk more about DAGs in the video that is tailored on DAGs, or the lecture. We can call them lectures or video. Doesn't matter. So I've said that Airflow is written in Python and the workflows are also created in Python scripts. You have to, again, understand Python for you to continue with this course. If you don't have basic understanding of Python, I can say you pause here, go learn Python, then come back and then learn Airflow. So here we have an example of a DAG, creation of a DAG, and here it's created in a context manager. And we have decorator for a task, creating a task here called Airflow. And the dependency is defined here where task called hello has to complete before task called Airflow completes. So if you know about Airflow, are there other alternatives to Airflow? Let's say you don't know Python, you want to try something else. We have SSIS. I haven't used this, but it is an alternative from Microsoft SQL Server. We have cron jobs. You can use bash commands. Let's say you know bash, but you don't know Python, and you want to schedule your jobs and you want them to run. You can use cron with Linux to set up your jobs. There is Luigi, which was created by Spotify. And there is AWS Step Functions, which help with the orchestration of jobs that are within services of AWS. So why should you use Airflow? The first reason is if your workflow is complex. Remember, we have here examples of tools that you can use, but sometimes your workflow is very complex that these tools cannot handle. Then Airflow will be a go-to choice for you, which allows you to easily define, schedule, and monitor multi-step workflows, handling complex dependencies between tasks across different systems and data sources. The other reason is Airflow is scalable and it is flexible. It can scale with your data needs, from simple workflows to complex pipelines, and it integrates with lots of databases, cloud platforms, APIs, making it acceptable for both small and large-scale data processes. We talked about monitoring. Airflow has a UI. It has a robust alerting system that can tell you when things go wrong. And with the Airflow web UI, you can visualize your workflows, you can monitor the status, you can set up alerts to stay informed about workflow execution, and handle failures promptly. The last reason, but there are several reasons. This is just last in my list that I've curated. You can customize your Airflow with code and plugins. It supports Python operators, it supports hooks and plugins, allowing you to extend the functionality with custom scripts and enabling easy integration with custom applications. So these are the reasons why I think you should use Airflow. Let's look at how Airflow architecture looks like. When you read the Airflow documentation, the architecture consists of several things, but I've just picked the 4 major parts that I feel like a beginner needs to first understand before you understand the rest of the parts. But this is majorly the whole of the architecture for Airflow. So we can begin with a scheduler. The scheduler is the part of the Airflow or the component of the Airflow that helps you schedule jobs and give the jobs to the workers. So that means that we also have the workers, and the workers are the ones that execute the job that you've given them. So you'll see that a scheduler here passes the job to a queue. It's just like a messaging bus. And then the workers poll for jobs, or sometimes the scheduler allocates the jobs to the workers that are free. Then we have a metadata database. So you have your Airflow tasks that you've defined. You've defined when they should run, and they need to be monitored. You have users who also are accessing your Airflow and using them. All that data about the job runs, about whether the tasks have run successfully or not, about the users, all that data is stored in a metadata database. Then there is a web UI, which we have also talked about, and it is part of the Airflow which you can access through the web to do your monitoring and also execute some jobs if there is need to. So what are the real-world use cases for Airflow? The first one is ETL pipelines, where ETL is extract, transform, and load. And extracting means extracting data from the source of the data. It could be a transactional database. It could be just a store somewhere, maybe a SaaS platform, or just an Excel file or XML files stored in a certain location. So you can extract them, transform them, and then load them. So the whole of this pipeline can be orchestrated using Airflow. The other orchestration is machine learning model pipelines, where you have data preparation, model training, model testing, and the model deployment. You can run you can organize your whole tasks and jobs in this pipeline using Airflow. There is data synchronization. We have seen data synchronization for BI. We have seen this before, where you can just organize your tasks from fetching data to sending reports for business intelligence. Yeah, so this is the introduction to Apache Airflow. In the next lecture, I'm going to show you how to install Airflow. If you've learned something, give us a thumbs up. Share the video to colleagues and friends who you think need to learn Airflow. And subscribe if you've not. And until the next lecture, please take care.